imitation in art is imitation of appearances, that's what you're imitating. You're imitating this impression that you have on the senses, and that's all you're doing. And he certainly has a good argument to make if you look at his critique of Athenian culture, which at another point in the Laws, a later work, right? In the Laws, Plato calls Athenian society a theatrocracy. That is a sort of rule by spectator, a rule by who can get the biggest round of applause, essentially. And this is why I began with our celebrities singing Imagine, because we are very familiar with this phenomenon. We are extremely familiar with the phenomenon of artists, right? Confusing what they are able to do with the thing that they are representing, confusing their kind of impression or depiction of a thing with actually having that capacity. So you see George Clooney, right? And he's very attractive and he's incredibly suave and charming on screen. He is in some action movie and he's very strong and courageous, right? And then he gets up on stage at the Golden Globes or the Oscars or whatever, and he like pontificates at it as if he's some great moral authority, right? And people are like, oh yes, George Clooney, so brave. And it's like, why do they think that? Why is everybody applauding like a seal for George Clooney? It's because they are confusing, and he is confusing, intentionally conflating the moral authority of the characters he portrays, right, with his own personal moral authority. And this, again, is what Christian might call a form of idolatry, conflating the appearance with the underlying reality. And Plato is essentially saying that art and artists, right, inherently insists that we do this. And now, I would suggest that this is a function of the fallen world and not of the reality of art, right? That actually, if you get down to it, art is actually using appearances, as all human life is, right? Using appearances to convey some core truth, and that there is no way out of this problem, right? That you actually can't, even if you are doing what Plato suggests we do, which is kind of using your sense impressions to make inferences and then climb your way out of your sense impressions to a kind of higher idea of the truth, right? And then bring that back down into the physical world. Right? You're still, nevertheless, drawing from your appearances and from impressions. It's all we have. We live in space and time. And art can indeed help us to do that. You just have to avoid this thing that artists often want you to do, and celebrities in particular often want you to do, which is just stop at the appearances, stop at the impressions.